Hey beautiful souls, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's reading we are going to be doing is we are going to be doing something I haven't done before, well, not on a YouTube pick a card reading. What we're going to be looking at is in a situation that you've been in where you're questioning your behavior and someone else's behavior. So we're just going to be looking at two people's, your behavior and one other person's behavior, to help you get some clarity and insight into how you reacted to the situation, what it is that you need to learn about the situation, and how they reacted to the situation as well and their behavior. We're more so going to be looking at what you need to learn from it rather than what the other person does, because this is a reading for you as the viewer. But I'm really hoping, well, I'm not hoping, I really feel very confident that this reading is going to be able to give you some really good insight and like a more objective view of what really happened, and to gently challenge you maybe on what happened, because sometimes we can not see things as they really are, and maybe we're just seeing things through not a great place. Maybe we're not feeling balanced, maybe we're feeling burnt out, whatever's going on for us. But I'm very interested to see how these readings unfold. I'm going to do what I usually do. I'm going to show you three different decks of cards, or three different oracle cards, or three different cards for you to then choose which is going to go along with your reading. Now, if you enjoy the reading but you need something a little bit more in depth, or there's some other question that you would like answered, you can get a personal reading with me, and you can find all the details for how to do that below in the description box. Before we get into it, I'd like to thank you all for your ongoing love and support. If you haven't yet subscribed, it's a really good way to support my channel, and to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And please, of course, feel very free to leave some feedback and comments below if you want to. All right, without any further ado, beautiful souls, let's get into the reading. I'm just about to show you your three different cards that you have to choose from for your reading today. Hello, so here we go. These are the three different cards that you have to choose from for your reading. So pile 1 is going to be Fennec Fox. Pile 2 is going to be Chambered Nautilus, and pile 3 is going to be the Grasshopper. I thought I would just choose some neutral cards to maybe make it a little bit easier for you to choose, because I know sometimes it can be hard to choose a pile because maybe we might be overreading or overthinking into an oracle card that might be meaningful or not, or I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So just choose whatever image you feel more drawn to, or which creature you feel more drawn to, and let's get into the readings and find out what they have to say about the situation. Okay, hello. For those of you who chose the Fennec Fox, this is your reading. For some of you, I feel like this represents you. And I'm really picking up like this innocence and this intention of doing well, but sometimes just being not kind of knowing the full story, or maybe getting swept away with things. But there's a lot of beautiful innocence here as well. Let's get into the reading though. I'll just put this here. So this pile here represents you and how you reacted, and this represents the other person in the situation. And this can be anyone. It can be a lover, it can be a family member, it can be a co-worker, whoever you need it to be. Now the tower in the middle here represents like the shared energy. So this was a tower moment, and what happened was, I mean, you will know what happened, but basically something had to be shook up. Something was shook up really, really quickly. Something happened quite abruptly, but it happened because whatever the core issue behind this is, and this is a very general reading, so we're not going to go into a deeper dive with it, But whatever the core issue was around this, and what I'm picking up so far is maybe a feeling of wanted to be recognized for teamwork and just wanting each other to be recognized for what they're bringing to the table in the situation, right? So the core issue was shaken, and there was a tower moment, and it was a little bit dramatic, right? But let's really get into it now. And this is our karmic card, which means that this had to happen, and it also means that there's big lessons that you can learn from this to help you kind of avoid. You won't totally avoid situations like this, but you'll be able to better manage situations like this in the future, or know how to better kind of manage your emotions and such. But let's get into it, okay? So for you, how you felt about the situation. We have the Three of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. So you felt like you were really doing some teamwork. You were doing something for both of you, or for a group of you, whatever applies to you, in the hope that it would bring kind of more stability and strength, and that you were growing something further, right? Whatever it is that you were doing, you were trying to grow something further. And I think maybe for some of you as well, on a core level, you felt like what it was that you were doing to contribute to whatever this was that was happening. I think deep in your core, you were like really hoping for like a really positive situation. And it was also, I think you were also doing it with the intention of seeing how things would grow, how were unfolding, and it felt like a really positive thing that was going on here, right? Because you were helping to grow something stable, right? Your reaction to this tower moment that happened, you felt really, the Five of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups, you really felt like you were doing something here that was really lovely. You felt like you were doing something for the good of all. And I feel like how you reacted to this, even though you were quite upset with the Five of Pentacles, and you felt a bit kind of like destabilized, and like maybe you'd lost your way a bit, you reacted from a heart space. So I think the way you reacted was in a way that was quite vulnerable, and I feel like you really opened your heart up to this person in regards to what happened and how you felt about it. So I think for a lot of you, this was like inner child, like it is most of the time. It was like inner child stuff being really triggered. But it seems like you were able to kind of be vulnerable with this person eventually, and let them into what was really going on for you in your heart space, and share that with them, which is really important. What was going on for this person here? They actually have three major arcanas here, so there's a lot of lessons for this person in regards to how this played out. So we have the Lovers to begin with clarified by Judgment. So this is how they felt about the situation, whatever it was. They felt like they were kind of at a place where they had to make a decision about how they were going to deal with the reaction to this, or how they were going to deal with whatever was going on here, whatever, and then it kind of came to this, if that makes sense. I feel like, however, this person felt was almost like then contributed heavily to the tower moment and what happened here, but also they're not in control of how you then manage your emotions, okay? That doesn't mean that your feelings here are invalid, but there's no cards here that show me that this person was malicious or that they were dishonest or that they were trying to be awful to you at all. This person here was really kind of trying to, I think they really value their connection with you, no matter what type of connection that is for you. And I feel like whatever it is that they shared with you, they felt like it was really important, and they felt like it was really well thought through, and it was something that they wanted to be able to share with you to kind of free themselves and kind of be open and honest about the situation as well, is what I'm getting here. I feel like this person felt really confronted by their feelings as well. And whatever choice that they had to make here. But with these cards here, it's really beautiful. You have these cards here represent how they reacted. So we have the Ten of Pentacles clarified by Strength. So they really chose to prioritize stability or the bigger picture, whatever resonates for you, however it applies to you. They chose to choose stability or the bigger picture, right? And they, with Strength here, I feel like they may have really held back feelings to try and maintain control here and kind of take the more mature or the more composed sort of route, even if it wasn't emotionally expressive. So I really feel like this can kind of really, these cards can really indicate someone who felt deeply about this situation, right? But they chose not to act emotionally, opting instead for kind of, you know, endurance and self-mastery with Strength, okay? Because Strength is all about controlling your ego and just standing in your strength, and Ten of Pentacles is all about stability and family and having that real, just having that stability in a very big way. It's the Ten of Pentacles, so it's like the nicest and the best stability you can get out of the cups, out of the Pentacles. So there were big lessons here for this person, and they acted, I feel, very much out of integrity, right? And that doesn't always mean that it's going to turn into a perfect thing, because obviously there was a Tower moment shared here, and you did the best you could. They did the best they could. You definitely reacted in a way where you felt really disappointed. You took things probably a little bit, maybe, I just feel like this is really your inner child, and that you just felt a little bit disappointed, and like whatever it was that you were trying to build or whatever it was that you were doing just kind of felt like it hadn't been seen. But you reacted from heart space, which is good. You were able to, in the end, really, I think for a while you were a little bit sad about it and emotional, but I feel like you were actually able to open up vulnerably about how you were feeling, which is really wonderful. Now, I've got some oracle cards and a word of advice for you as the viewer, pile one. So your word of advice is the Four of Swords. So this is really talking about you getting some much needed rest and just really taking it easy and looking after your heart here. Spending some time in nature if possible, just to kind of rebuild yourself and to find your own inner peace is what I'm getting here. We also have forgive. So I kind of feel like this is talking about really forgiving this situation, the whole situation as it is. As I mentioned before, I don't think there was anything here malicious. It was just someone really speaking their mind and being really honest and upfront. And as I said before, I feel like this took a lot for this person. And they thought a lot about this. How they responded was actually, they did a really good job in holding themselves as best as they could. We also have plenty, be open for great things. So this is a mudra card. So this mudra strengthens and fulfills the hearts. So we need food for our spiritual and mental development. When it is lacking, we become needy, weary, and dissatisfied. What nourishes us is everything which inspires, motivates, and enthuses us. Finding out exactly what our needs are takes time and care. We should test out what we discovered to see whether it is truly ours. But even just a few minutes spent in our inner refuge can give us a lift and sate our hunger. Imagine a place which strengthens you with its beauty and harmony. What is it that gives you what you need, that sustains you? Your experiences or deeds are what keep you going, and it has my happiness is within me. And it talks here about, your hobbies being really important and doing things that you really like being really important. Now, one more oracle card. Lots of oracle cards today. I usually don't do this many. So we have the night moon. This is the beautiful Moonology messages oracle. So I really feel like this is talking about you're in the midst of doing shadow work at the moment, whether you're aware of it or not. I think we're always kind of doing shadow work to a degree, sometimes more often than usual. But you at the moment are doing some shadow work, and this is really shadow work you're watching a tarot card reading, so I'm going to just assume you're pretty open-minded and spiritual, and you probably know what shadow work is. But this is really talking about the need to make sure that you're integrating your shadow with yourself and finding acceptance with it and loving it, so that you can feel more integrated and whole as a person again. I will quickly read out just a very small part of what it says in the actual book, and it says, your shadow is the part of you that you fear or are ashamed of and find hard to love. Until you learn to embrace your shadow, it can get in your way, and whatever blockage you're facing now almost certainly comes from the fact that there is something you don't want to admit to yourself or to someone else. Maybe you need to confess that you're not as happy as you've been making out, or maybe someone else needs you to let you know that. Maybe you've had dark thoughts that have impeded your progress. It's all good. Learning to love all parts of you is key here. The outcome you're chasing now lies on the other side of your fears. And then it has, accept yourself, shadow and all, see your situation through loving eyes, release a grudge you have against someone, forgive yourself and love yourself. Okay, so this is a beautiful reading, pile one. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did doing it for you. Please feel very free to leave feedback and comments below, and I'll see you on my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile two, or for those of you who chose the Chambered Nautilus. This is a really interesting card. It's very, very cute. I'm really picking up that you as the viewer are someone that is very sensitive, and that it takes a lot for you to come out of your shell and to be vulnerable. But I feel like you have in this situation, and instead of crawling, I think sometimes some of you, when you're really hurt, you kind of crawl back into your shell. Let me know what you think. But let's get into your reading. It's such a cute card. All right, so this pile here represents you. This pile here represents the other person that we're talking about that is on your mind. This card represents the shared energy in this whole situation. So strength is a beautiful card to have here. This really tells me that no matter what happened, the energy and the intention here was to really kind of, whether you were conscious of it or not, both of you were really trying your best, the best you possibly could, to stay in your power and to also really control your ego and see the other person's point of view and just remain in like a stable state of mind, but still holding strength, right? And And as I always say, because this is a major arcana, it's a karmic card. So there's lessons for both of these people to be learnt in how to control your ego and how to, turn up as the best version of yourself. Knowing that we're never going to be perfect, of course, as well. That's really important to highlight. Okay, let's get into your side of the situation. So how you felt about the situation. Three of Swords clarified by the Seven of Cups. You felt devastated. You felt really, really triggered. You felt maybe, as far as I could go as far as saying, heartbroken, a lot of inner child stuff coming up, really, really sad. And with the Seven of Cups clarifying, I feel like I'm really, really being drawn to the snake in this picture. As I'm sure you already know, this has been the year of the snake, the Chinese year of the snake. So it's been an incredibly challenging year for all of us, more challenging than usual. Some would say, I would say definitely hands up to me for that. And I feel like there's in part of this, I do think is inner child stuff as well. I always say that because there's truth in that. I feel like your inner child was definitely triggered with this, and this is why you got so upset. And I also feel like with the Seven of Cups, you felt kind of like you'd made the right choice with whatever was happening here, but it started to make you rethink whether you made the right choice, right, with whatever this was and how you felt about it and whatever came about. Every person's situation is going to be different. But I think that's also why you felt so like the Three of Swords, because I feel like you were kind of throwing caution to the wind. I feel like some of you as well weren't really quite sure about what was happening here and whether you were doing the right thing in accordance to you, whether it was the right timing. It was very emotionally driven, okay? But there's big changes for you coming up around this particular situation and how you felt about it and how you reacted, okay? So there's a lot of lessons here to be learnt as per usual, especially with the moon here, another major arcana, and your second, and the person here has two major arcanas as well. So how you reacted, the Seven of Wands and the moon, you reacted from a place of fear. You reacted from a place of emotional instability, is what I'm really getting here. I feel like some of you felt like you were drowning and you weren't in control of your emotions because you weren't able to see things very clearly. Because the moon can really create illusions for us, because when the moon is up, we can't always see things clearly, right? And this is the story here, the Navajo story about, the black wolf and the white wolf and which one you feed, and whether you feed, just to make it layman's terms and easier, I think a lot of you would probably know this story, but this probably represents the light side and the shadow side, right? So the more we feed the shadow, the more fear we live in, right? But it's also about integrating shadow with lightness, because it's always, I believe that duality exists and there's always going to be lightness and there's always going to be darkness, but it's how we integrate it so that we accept it and we can love ourselves and then better manage our emotions and how we react, right? So you reacted in a more defensive way because I feel like like this picture suggests, your self-worth, you probably felt like your self-worth was really attacked here. And so you may have reacted in more of a kind of defensive way through fear and through this heartache, of course, that you felt. So you wouldn't have really been seeing the situation objectively, is what I'm getting here, because you were really hurt. This person here, how they felt about the situation, they felt pretty clear about what was going on, and I feel like with the Chariot, they felt pretty confident with how they were feeling about what happened. they feel like they could see things objectively with this bird here, because birds can see better than we can, right? They felt like they saw things pretty clearly, and so they felt confident with how they felt about whatever this situation was. They felt confident with how they saw it, right? And then how they reacted, the Seven of Pentacles and the Magician, I feel like this person, the way they reacted was they were really trying to control the situation in a way that they were really trying to control themselves and how they reacted, and they were trying to really manifest something more stable here for this situation. They were trying to create more stability. They were trying to they reacted in a way where they felt like they were really trying to grow, in essence, what was happening here, and almost heal it in a way, is what I'm getting here as well, and grow it further through trying to kind of be the alchemist and learn how and be controlling their emotions more. And they were trying to control the outcome. They were trying to really control how they reacted to this. Okay, there's no malicious energy here, I feel, at all. They were really trying to do their best. With the Magician, this person is really, I think there's a lot of lessons here about them learning how to control, them learning how to know how to do things, if that makes sense, because the Magician is number one. We have the Fool and then we have the Magician. So the Magician is really learning how to alchemize. They're really learning how to what to put their energy into to grow things and to make things kind of go their way, or to make things more constructive or positive, because this is a really positive, constructive card, the Seven of Pentacles. I feel like this is kind of like energy they're trying to put into growing this tree more, right? Substance, stability. So there's nothing malicious here. This person is just trying to kind of do their best. And the Chariot, I feel like they're really building their confidence in how to better see which direction to go to, and how to best see how things really are, and how to move forward with how they see things as well. So there's a lot going on here for both of these people, that's for sure. Now I have a word of advice for you as the viewer, and some oracle cards. So I have the Page of Cups. So as a word of advice for you, I kind of feel like this is saying that a lot of you probably felt really hurt because there's this inner child stuff going on for you. And I feel like sometimes you can get very carried away by your emotions and your feelings, and sometimes kind of have trouble being vulnerable. But I think also as well, there's a lot here around taking things really personally, and I feel like also you weren't very grounded in this situation. This person's feet are up in the air, and I kind of feel like there's some grounded, that's you need to ground yourself a little bit more here as well. And just remember, there's a lot of inner child stuff happening, and I feel like for some of you, you're maybe not used to being as vulnerable as what you're feeling right now, and it's something you're learning about. And I feel like your higher self is trying to teach you as well. This is about bringing yourself back down to earth, as not getting too carried away by your emotions as well. Pigs can fly, or pigs might fly, that saying where it's kind of like mythical and not really real, is just a message I'm getting here. So maybe you weren't really seeing things as clearly, which is what the moon depicted anyway. Then we have relieved, which is really nice. I feel like this reading has given you some relief and maybe some clarity around the healing that is being done for you and needs to be done for you. But there's this feeling of relief here, and to say that, that you can be relieved. And then the Moon Oracle cards, beautiful. We have Moon Goddess, Higher Power. So you'll need to apply this to you as it resonates, man or woman, doesn't matter. But basically, I'm going to read what it says here. So the situation you're asking about may feel impossible, but you are magical and have celestial support. The goddess is on your side. Whatever you're facing, she's bringing you healing, grace, and blessings. You're facing a soul challenge right now. You need to move through it to know how strong you are. Mere mortals often give up when they face tough challenges. But if you're reading this, you're not a mere mortal. You know that you're connected to a higher power, including all the goddesses who are there for you. So this is really like connecting to the divine, asking for help, not doing it alone, and calling in the goddesses as well. So pile 2, I really hope you enjoyed your reading. Please feel very free to leave feedback and comments below, and to give the video a thumbs up, and to subscribe if you haven't already, because that really helps support my channel as well. Thank you so much. Lots of love and light, and I'll see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello pile 3, or for those of you who chose this beautiful card, Grasshopper. I feel like as a viewer, you guys are really ready to move forward with something. Because I'm really being drawn to the green. But that's all I'm really getting at the moment, okay? Let's get into it though. Let's get into your tarot cards and see what they say. So this side represents you. This side represents the other person. This represents your shared energy. So a few major arcanas here. So lots of karmic lessons to be learned. The High Priestess as a shared energy is really telling me that there was stuff here that was untold, that needed to be expressed but was untold, and it's kind of like both of you knew what needed to be expressed, or both of you kind of knew what needed to unfold here, or what needed to be discussed, but it just wasn't. Or maybe it was, and then that's why you're watching this, right? But let's get into your side. So how you felt about the situation, whatever it is. Just remember, this is a really general reading, so you'll need to take it as it resonates for you. So you felt very clear and grounded about whatever was going on, and I really feel like this is something that you had a clear intention of moving forward with something, and that you'd gotten some clarity in your mind, and you really wanted to move forward, and you felt stable, and you felt pretty confident with what was happening. There was a new kind of start for you rationally, and like you felt pretty at peace with it. Both of these people feel pretty at peace with what's going on, right? How you reacted is interesting, because you have the Five of Wands clarified by Judgment. So how you reacted was, you reacted in a way where you kind of, there was a little bit of like kind of fiery maybe conflict here, or the way that you expressed what obviously needed to be expressed here with Judgment and the High Priestess. I felt like you were really expressing your truth, and it was something that you'd maybe been holding back. And the way you reacted and expressed it, I kind of feel like it was a truth where you're like, hey, this is what's going on, and this is the way it is for me, and this is how I feel about it. So because there's some fire here, so I kind of feel like maybe some of you were a little bit frustrated, you know, and the conflict here with the Five of Wands was either internally within you, or it came out externally. So it kind of forced, I feel like, a conversation or an energetic kind of wake up call for you and for this other person as well. So your reaction was quite intentional. I don't think it was maybe reactive, I'm not 100% sure, but you really chose to stir the waters to bring clarity to something for you that was important, right? With the other person that we're talking about and thinking about, how they felt about the situation, there was some kind of emotional withdrawal here, some dissatisfaction. So it might have felt like they weren't really present emotionally, but they were definitely thinking, right? And this was accompanied by them thinking about, considering what their options are and kind of planning ahead with whatever this situation is, right? So there's apathy. I kind of feel like maybe this cup that's being offered to them is maybe you or someone else, whatever resonates for you, but they're kind of like they're in their mind with something else, or they're thinking about something else, so they're not really totally emotionally present, right? Because there's a lot of things, there's a decision or there's something that they're pondering on. Now, how they reacted to how you reacted, I guess, or whichever way you want to take it. We have the Star and the Six of Wands. They kind of just wanted to be able to like have hope and have healing within this. And they also wanted to be able to move on from whatever turbulence this created as well, because we have a crow here, we have crows here. They wanted to get to clarity as well, is what I'm getting here. So rather than kind of, you here were more kind of confronting, or you engaged in a little bit of conflict here because you wanted truth, you wanted something to be sorted out, right? This person kind of chose peace over tension is what I'm getting here, and maybe they withdrew to either heal or gain clarity, or they may have also stepped back emotionally or physically, okay? And this isn't really about abandonment, it's more about self-preservation and recovery is what I'm getting here. So the shared energy here is both knew but neither spoke at first, right? You gained clarity and pushed for the truth, even if it caused friction, and your person felt emotionally disconnected and responded by kind of retreating to heal. So it's like one person breaks the silence and the other one kind of responds by stepping back, is what I'm getting here. Your word of advice is the Empress. So what I'm getting here is this is just really about you taking the time that you need to really return to self-nurturing, remembering your self-worth and emotional abundance. So in the context of this spread, it's really about, stop waiting for emotional validation from someone who is either withdrawn or unsure here, okay? Choose softness without self-abandonment is what I'm getting here as well. And just allowing things, and of course this is easier said than done, just allowing things to kind of grow naturally instead of trying to force clarity or outcomes with things. We have reflection as another oracle card, which I think is just really, it's pretty straightforward. I feel like this is just really representative of like maybe some reflection is needed here. Or things are being reflected here because we have the sun and the moon, and I feel like maybe the sun and the moon is really representative of one or the other with you here, or just representing the importance of reflection so that there's balance between the two. And then your last oracle card, which are the beautiful cards from the Moonology Messages oracle card, we have Moonlight Enchanted. So I'm going to read the meaning from the book for you, and it says, sorry, just bear with me. It says, There is something magical and enchanted about moonlight. Whatever it touches turns a beautiful creamy silver. Something is doing this in your life now or is about to. Life is all about cycles, as is astrology and moonology. Right now, you're about to move into a more enchanted time or cycle in your life, if you believe. Whatever you're wishing for can come true because you're starting to believe again, perhaps after a rough time. This card reminds you to focus on the good while you process the difficult. If you cannot yet feel the magic in your life, take support from a daily practice of just breathing out, with the intention of breathing out stress through cleansing breaths. It might be dark now, but there is moonlight at the end of the tunnel, so keep the faith and see the world through kind eyes. Beautiful. So pile 3, I really hope this reading has given you what you needed to get out of it. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did doing it for you. Please feel very free to leave feedback and comments below. If you'd like to get a personal reading with me, you can find my details in the description box alongside social media platforms if you choose to follow me there, and my PayPal as well if you feel drawn to leave me a tip, but of course that's not expected at all. Thank you so much for your ongoing love and support, pile 3. I'll see you in my next reading. Bye.